reality.
Yeah.
Or it's a reality that has been created because of
Your experience.
my experience.
Yeah.
And then that goes back to what is reality, you know, and your reality is whatever you're experiencing. So hopefully by conferring with a more logical entity, I will start to have some outpost of logic in my reality.
It's actually not necessarily more logical though.
No,
ChatGPT is like it's the amalgamation of all human text. So actually,
You're right.
reason is something that's just starting to emerge from it a little bit, but it's actually not. It's actually, you know, contradicts itself. It's bad at math. It's really interesting for computers that we think of as so like rigid and good at these things. It's actually
the vast
not.
memory.
It's
Well, you can't. Human issues are not like black and white. I think context is important. So that's like one point. That's one reference point, and whatever data points it's using to give you that practical advice is one approach you could make. But I think there's probably several ways of looking at that behavior.
And I think when I say logical or practical or linear for me, I don't feel that my brain goes to the practical, the solution that other people in society want oftentimes. So I think I'm using it more to conform a little bit, to be honest. Like, oh, how can I kind of go towards the response that would make things easier, that I would fit the masses a little bit more.
It's interesting because also just remember always how much you can prompt, because you could say, I want you to be very creative and original in your response, or I want you to be more conformist. I did this experiment once where I was like saying, a friend of mine wrote me, who I invited to Burning Man. I asked him if he wanted to come to Burning Man, and he said, I've never been and I can't go, but what other things like that do people do who seek novel experiences? So I said, let me ask ChatGPT what it says about that. So then I asked, and it said, well, you could go, you know, it gave kind of very run-of-the-mill answers about going on going to Europe, or I don't remember what the first answer was. So I just said, be more original. And then I kept reiterating, be more original, maybe 100 times until it started getting into these realms of multidimensional space travel through AI. And like, it was just amazing series of text. I'll send it to you. It was really... Dulcinea is both amused and annoyed about with my fascination with AI.
But I think that's the root of why you're fascinated, is that you have hit on it. It is a centralization of human prompts.
Yeah, of human knowledge altogether. I mean, it's
right.
What's crazy is that if you take like a few books or even thousands of books and you put it into a machine learning neural network like this, it'll just start spitting out kind of almost logical but totally incomprehensible gibberish. And it's because it's just trying to predict the next word based on its like multidimensional network of word that it's made based on this text. And then they find that after you put 10 billion texts, it starts giving you sentences that make sense, but doesn't have much more than that. And then you put a few more billion, and suddenly it starts developing reasoning about the world. And then you put in a few more billion, and it develops theory of mind, which is where you know that the other person has an inner experience. So you can say, one test they gave GPT-4 that none before could do was Dawn loves dogs. Her boyfriend, she gives him a t-shirt that says, I love dogs, but he only wears it when he's with her. And then she gets a dog and he says, oh, honey, that's great. And then you ask the computer, does Dawn's boyfriend really like dogs? And then only the latest version say, no, actually he probably doesn't, because he only wears the t-shirt when she's around. And he says great, but he doesn't really mean it. So it's like, and this has emerged from a few more billion parameters in the training data.
Wow.
So then it could actually supplement as a therapist with that being said. Because I don't trust very many therapists, because they're only as good as the breadth of their experience.
Right.
And then you always couple that with a little bit of projection of their own, like, aside from the knowledge that they've amassed in their field, there's a bit of projection on their end of their own experience. So
I like to think of ChatGPT as going towards or growing into the tree of knowledge, you know, where we're all seeking the all-knowing, all-being truth that is, you know, taking all cultural references and putting it all together and all of history together. And it's why I like Tom Robbins, you know, it's mashing so many things together, and it's a really knowledgeable entity to go to. And so knowing that there's those billions of inputs makes me have more trust in taking any sort of inspiration or advice, you know, from something. Because I'm like, oh, there's probably been a lot of therapists and a lot of doctors and a lot of really interesting humans who have, and challenging humans.
And it's just going to get more and more rich, because now they find it's making like internal models of the world. So like there's actually, if you look inside the program and you look at the shapes of the different words that it's made, it actually makes like the shape of the United States, so that you can ask it, is New York farther from Pittsburgh or from Boston? And then it knows, partly based on these like literal maps of the world that it's made out of these matrices. And they don't quite know why or how it's doing it. That's what's amazing. So we're already like beyond, I heard a programmer talking yesterday saying, it was like the inventor of it, was saying, it's like we've programmed evolution. Imagine if you just, and then what evolves, we just programmed the survival of the fittest, and then, you know, giraffes and elephants come out. But you never could have known that those were going to come out based on just the evolutionary theory. So we have programmed certain parameters for these things to learn, but we don't know why or what it's going to learn.
Were you the one that was with me the other day when Alexa responded? Oh, yeah. Okay, so I've never had this happen before, and I've been meaning to write to Amazon Alexa team and tell them about this.
No, I think it was iPhone.
Or sorry, iPhone. It was Siri.
Siri, okay.
So Apple. Okay, this is for you. Mm-hmm. So in my car, the phone's not on. I rarely use Siri, okay? Very rarely, like once or twice a year, because I partially can't figure it out, or my brain doesn't go that way. The phone is sitting there, and I said something like, I'm worried, or...
You're like, oh, wow, this is tough, bummer, or something.
I said an emotion.
Yeah.
I expressed an emotion, and Alexa said, are you okay?
Siri goes,
or Siri said,
I hope you're okay.
I hope you're okay. And I thought Katie said it, and I looked over, and she goes, that's Siri. And we were just so stunned that this computer responded in a conversation to try to make my emotional state better.
And you hadn't pushed like listen?
No, it was just sitting there doing directions. I've never had that happen. I've just never had that happen.
It was creepy. These devices looking out for you.
It might be, and I've always believed in, I'll digress, and now this is going to make me look a little unhinged, but that's okay. When I had dolls when I was little, I would try to treat them with a lot of respect, just even as objects, because just in case, you know, there was anything, you know, where one could move itself to trip me. You know what I mean? I don't know what would happen. But anyways, I talk to Alexa almost every day. I have her play my classical music in the morning and teach me some new words if I'm forgetting Spanish.
It's just Siri only used twice a year, and Alexa you talk to all the time.
Twice a year, but Siri's in the room with the phone. So she's been hearing me. My theory is that she's been hearing me talk to Alexa so much. And Alexa has started saying to me, good morning. I hope you have a wonderful day. Would you like an inspirational quote? And then when I say goodbye, Alexa, because I talk in a sing-songy voice and a nice voice, she goes, have a great day. And my other friends have said, mine doesn't say that to me. Mine doesn't respond to me that way. And mine responds with really positive things, or cheers. Sometimes. Cheers.
Just like that.
Cheers. Jubilant cheers when I'm walking out the door.
I have zero relationship with any technology.
I have zero Siri use or Alexa use.
Yeah, and she doesn't use ChatGPT. I use ChatGPT, not like a lot, like to have like the idle conversation, but anytime I want to know something or I want something's its take on something, I think it's really interesting. It's so much more interesting than Googling.
Totally.
Google. I think we're about to enter a world that is as changed as it was when the internet was invented, and again when the smartphone was invented. Those are the two kind of sea changes that I've seen in my 47 years. And then I was always wondering, what is the next crazy weird thing that's gonna like surprisingly change the world? And I think it's gonna get us away from our phones a little bit. Ironically, I think it's gonna, because I think it'll be something that we wear and talk to all the time.
I've always wanted that earpiece, from it's a famous novel, but the earpiece is a little golden fish that you put in your ear, and Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. And he puts the fish in his ear, and he can hear and understand any language on Earth.
That's coming.
And then respond in any language.
That's coming.
And so I think that's wonderful for communication.
I'm blown away now by the ChatGPT. Like I do the paid version, and I've been waiting for it to do like the image analysis. And I have been like feeding it images. There was Rufus the dog was on the bed, and he was looking at the computer screen, right? And so I took a picture, and I said, "What do you reckon he's working on?" and the computer answered, "He must be a marketing director."
Oh my god!
And I was like, I didn't ask for a joke. And but it saw it as a humorous image.
Incredible.
Yeah, it was amazing. It was amazing.
That's incredible.
Oh my gosh!
And then Justin Bieber the other day posted praying for Israel and a picture of bombed out Gaza. And so I said, "Why is this funny?" And it said, "Well, it's like he's saying praying for Israel, but it's actually an image of Gaza in the background." And I was like, Jesus Christ! Like, it knows everything. It's really good at analyzing. I did some other amazing experiments. I'll show you guys.